the set looks different, that's because it's 3 hours away. This is my room. What are you doing here? Hey everyone, this is Daphne Tett, and in case you haven't noticed, I am back home for Thanksgiving, and everyone, I have an announcement to make. I, Hanako Zoe Tett, finally have a flower crown. Good for you. Hanako Zoe, that's an extra AF name if I've ever heard one. No, it's 2 names. Hanako is my real name. Zoe is what I let people call me when their feeble tongues can't pronounce a refined name like Hanako. Whoa, you have 2 names? We gotta settle on one. I won't be able to keep track of that at all. And if we're doing that, I vote for Zoe. I know of one person who won't be able to pronounce Hanako. I'll admit it, big words confuse me. I was talking about morality. Aw, thanks! Stop. We've already had 1 name reveal this episode. We don't need 2. You're all just gonna stick to Zoe that easily? You're not even gonna try Hanako? Yep, plebes. So what are we doing today? Well, since we're back on my old stomping ground, we're gonna read Daphne's middle school writing. You're actually going through with that? Well, yeah, it's right here, so we're gonna read it. What we've done is scoured through your memories of 6th through 10th grade, and each of us have picked out a notebook exempling the worst of your writing. 10th grade? You didn't really get good until Lady Revanche. True dat. So who'd like to go first? I suggest we go in chronological order of when each piece was written. Negativity, since your piece was written in the 7th grade, I suggest you go first. Gladly. Everyone gather round for Daphne's first attempt at emo writing. I'm pretty sure emo isn't a genre. An edgy book about an edgy alien who comes to edgy Earth to do some edgy things. I used so many pages with this. Bless this child. What was I on in middle school? Common Child spell was nice. 'Cause it was niche as heck. Let's just get into the first chapter, shall we? I remember the last time I ever saw Lysla. It was a dark and stormy night some 2 years ago. She was 13, just as I am now. I could tell something was wrong with her. That night at dinner, normally chatty Lysla said nothing. Her small blue eyes stared downcast. Then she cleared her throat, as if to say something. Then I realized something. Ardings don't clear their throats. Dun, dun, dun! Mom and Dad began to whisper to each other, quieter than I could hear. Then Dad linked arms with Lysla and stood up. He motioned me to come with him. The 3 of us went back to the living room. I held Lysla's hands behind her back, while Dad tied them behind her back. Then he escorted her to her... He wrote Troom and then erased the T. I know what you did, Daphne. I didn't know what he was doing and why, because we don't reveal anything to each other in this family. But what I heard a few minutes later scared me half to death. First there was a violent cough, then a surreal roaring noise, at least Lysla's ear-splitting scream, and then all mayhem broke loose. I heard more of those terrifying roars and terrified screams. There was also other sounds that made me scared. Among them were the sounds of breaking glass, something catching on fire, though we don't know what that something was. It may be a small explosion, the tearing of fabric, and the crash of an object flying at a wall greatly concerned me. I asked Mom and Dad if they could see what was happening. They both said no, because they hate me. 3 hours after the noise started, it strangely stopped. I rushed up the stairs and opened Lysla's bedroom doors. The room was in tatters. No object was the way it was before. The light bulb was a pile of shards at my feet. The nightstand was slightly burned. The pillow was torn in half. Lysla sat on the floor, crying. She looked up and saw me. "Zayo! Zayo!" she cried as she ran and threw her arms around me. "Thank goodness you're here! Those were the scariest 3 hours of my life!" I replied. I asked Mom and Dad if they could come up here, but they said no. I watched the fear in her blue eyes turn to anger. She pushed me aside and marched downstairs. "Why weren't you there?" Lysla screeched. "You don't understand," Dad said. "I'm running away and never coming back," Lysla interrupted, like the hormonal teenager she was. The next day, Lysla was gone. We never saw her again. Rumors about her mental midnight, as they call it, spread quickly. People asked me about it, but I couldn't talk about it. Why did the perfect child have to run away? Bless, this child is right. Her parents hate her.
The only thing that made that bad was your sarcastic reading of it.
Yeah, I used the sarcastic rendition as a way of revealing the overdramatic prose, flat descriptions, repetitiveness with the words, and the borderline abusive, no, actually abusive parents. Isn't the premise of this book that the parents abandoned their hormonal alien teenage daughter on Earth?
I was just trying to maintain tension.
Don't normalize child abuse.
That's awfully woke of you.
Who's next?
That would be me, since my passages were written in the 7th and 8th grade. I present to you Daphne's Assorted Stuff 2. Cut me some slack. That's the notebook I would write in while waiting for food at a restaurant or something. I can't expect anything in there to be complete.
Daphne never completed anything. After she finished the 3rd Common Child Spellbook in 7th grade, she didn't finish anything until Pokemon Trainers Academy 3 years later. Sometimes she wouldn't even get past the cover art. I will only be reading the first passage, A Terrier Family Christmas, as soon as I find it. Stupid pages. Pierre Terrier did not like his family. His grandparents were whack jobs. His mom couldn't understand English. That made it hard for them to communicate. And his aunt didn't believe he could get a girl his age to talk to him. He sat in the back of his dad's car as they drove to his grandma's house for winter break. Dad, Pierre said, why do we do this every year? Denise Terrier replied, first, we haven't done this since you were 6. Pierre was 13. Second, getting together for Christmas builds family bonding time. They arrived at Grandma Anne's house. Grandma Anne, Denis's mother, answered the door. Bienvenue, Denis et Cécile et Pierre, she said. What do you mean you want us to get lost? Pierre asked. Pierre, mon petit-fils, I was just saying welcome, Anne told Pierre. Pierre could not understand French, as his mom, Cécile, could not understand English. Vous arrivez, and welcomed the 3 to our house. 15 minutes later, they had some more visitors. It was Aunt Sophie and Uncle Guillaume, and behind them were 2 beautiful girls about his age. Pierre stood up and got some index cards. He walked over to them and tried to say, Bonjour, belle fille. Je m'appelle Pierre. Comment tu t'appelles? We speak English, not Job, the light-haired girl said. Oui, nous parlons anglais, the dark-haired girl said. So what's your name? Pierre asked. My name's Jen, the light-haired girl said, and this is Laure. Pierre put his arms around each girl's shoulder and walked them to the living room. Please, let me tell you something about myself. That was a terrible concept. For one thing, Pierre should be able to understand his mother's native tongue. And the French in this is like a French 1 level at best. I wrote this while I was in French 1. Cut me some slack. Secondly, he flirts with his own cousins and he does it badly. Ooh, incest. And third, there are 2 different instances of there being 2 quotes in the same paragraph said by 2 different people, even though they're in the same paragraph, which I just said. Oh right, you're the grammar Nazi. Put simply, this Pierre kid is, how you would say, a dork. Whose turn is it to roast me now? It's hard to say, Amora's and mine were both written in 10th grade.
I also don't wanna.
Me too, buddy. Zoe's piece was written in the fall while Morality's was written in March. Therefore, Zoe should go first. All right, I know I'm supposed to be the side of you that loves everything you do. But the Moonstone was a disaster. Yep. And let me show you why. Jessica walked towards the lake. She walked slowly as if something was calling for her, quickly as if she was chasing something, and briskly as if she was simply strolling through the woods at night. The night-blackened trees stood all around her, their twigs strewn across the ground. They didn't stop Jessica's tread. The trees seemed to clear a path for her. Her feet seemed to go through the twigs. At last she reached the lake, a perfectly imperfect blobbish shape. The trees that once surrounded Jessica now kept their distance from the lake. For a brief moment, Jessica wondered what she was doing in the woods, especially in a neat blue dress, heels, and velvet red lipstick. She shrugged the feeling and took a few steps forward. Strange voices echoed in her head, saying, "Touch me, touch me." The brilliant full moon reflected itself in the dark water of the pond. Jessica marched slowly towards the moonlit water, as if possessed by some ghost-like force. Her right foot tapped the edge of the pond. A white light glowed in that area and spread across the lake's surface, outshining the moon above. As soon as the light claimed the last few inches on the opposite shore, a white mist rose, rivaling the night's deep darkness. Wind whipped around in circles, moving the mist into a spiral in the air. The mist and the wind disappeared, and all that remained was a young girl, pretty in figure and form, with an ethereal appearance, floating above the lake. The girl descended to the earth, and when her toe touched the lake, a perfect ring-shaped ripple spread across the water. The girl lightly ran across the lake, each footstep tossing a few drops from the surface. When she arrived at the shore, she placed her hands on Jessica's shoulders and said, "Thank you. You have rescued me." Jessica said, "Wait, what?" "You rescued me from the lake," the girl said. "Only one wearing the lapis lazuli could do that." Jessica looked down at the necklace she was wearing. It had a blue tortoise-shaped pendant. "Oh, this old thing," she said. "I bought it at a Renaissance festival. I don't think it has any real magical properties, though." "Oh, does it?" The girl raised her left hand. She was wearing a pearl ring, the only material part of her. She placed the ringed hand on Jessica's forehead. With her other hand, she guided Jessica's arm so her arm rested on her back. Jessica felt a series of sensations. A wooden board pressed against her forehead, wind rushed into her eyes and her mouth and her throat. When those feelings subsided, Jessica felt woozy, like a marble was rolling around in her brain, and the ethereal girl was missing. It's still a great concept after 3 years. It just isn't you. How so? I mean, just look at it. The prose is way too flowery. There's way too much detail on everything. Like, who cares about the full moon? Miss Gentry said your writing style is dry and witty. The only dry and witty things about this book that were in this book were blobbish and, wait, what? We're missing one important thing. What's that? This thing is Steven Universe fanfiction on top of Steven Universe fanfiction on top of Steven Universe fanfiction. So it was inspired by Steven Universe, but so was everything else I wrote that year. I was obsessed. It was a sign of the times. What ship was this getting at? Lapidot, Perlapis, whatever was going on with Jasper? Tell me. Let's just move on to Mora. Okay, I don't really want to show this since it seems like something I like. Is it Love Diary? It's Love Diary. Oh right, this is Daphne's crappy attempt at writing a shoujo manga. Yeah, looks like it was drawn in a car. That's because it was. Just read the darn thing and hold it up to the camera so they can see the awful pictures. Here goes. Dear Diary, hello, my name is Gekeju Atama. I am 16 years old, and I'm a first year at Sugimori High School. My teacher's name is Girihan Sensei. She's really nice. I love writing and writing about love. I'm in English club and journalism club at school. I'm using this book to write whatever romantic stories come into my head. I like to call it my love diary. I kept one in my last year of middle school. It was super fun. I wonder what stories I'll write this year. 3 weeks later, Sugimori High School. Atama-san? I've seen how well you've been doing on your history tests. Girihan-sensei. There are 3 boys who have been failing repeatedly. Could you stay after school and tutor them a bit? Sure, which ones? Well, there's... Oh, God, your handwriting is terrible, Daphne. Matane-san? There's Ropezu-san? And there's Sarazaru-san over there. Spoiler alert, he's important. I think I can take them. Thank you, Atama-san. I'll see you after school. I'll see you too, Sensei. Obviously nervous. Meanwhile, in the diary. This is it. Watsue was going to tell Ari how he felt. Ari was perfect. Feathery hair, gem-like eyes, glowing skin. She was his candy girl. But how could he? What business did he, a middle school student, have with a high school student like her? Walks up. Hey, Ari-san. Fingers crossed. Who are you? I skipped a page. Watsue was shot down. What a lovely ending. Gekiju's brother. Joshua-chan! What you doing? Just writing. You weren't reading, were you? Yeah, why do you ask? I don't like people reading my work. That's your problem, Gekiju-chan. You're too tsundere. This is why you'll never have a boyfriend. Bye, Juju. I can have a boyfriend. I'll show him. The next day, in the classroom, Gekiju enters. He stands up and bows. I mean, just look at that face. He's kind of cute. Why'd you do that? Isn't it customary to greet the teacher when she enters? Atama-sensei. There's no need to call me that. You can call me Gekeju, or just Ju. What's your name? Sarazaru. Nigai no Sarazaru. Told you he was important. So what was that guy's name again? Which guy? The first ruler of the Roman Empire. Julius Caesar, I think. Thanks. So what clubs are you in? Clubs? I'm in drama, in English, in journalism. Journalism? Yeah, I helped make the school newspaper. What did you think? It was run by elves?
Wow, that was so hackneyed. The protagonist was so flat. You were trying so hard to be Japanese. You're the whitest Japanese girl I've ever met. You're me! You're not even a romance writer. I was reading Ottoman when I wrote this. Let me guess, a sign of the times. I thought the brother's name was Josuke for a second, and I was gonna say that was its only redeeming quality. We don't even watch JoJo. For the reference, man! The reference! I was going to say that the redeeming quality was that the best drawn panel and the worst drawn panel were on the same page. See? That is true. At least Solomon Tai didn't turn out this bad. Solomon Tai, her second attempt at manga. That thing was the bomb! It does have a lot of potential as a manga, and the drawing significantly better. I think that's what we were supposed to learn here. Daphne's writing hasn't always been good, but she kept working at it and it became better. Yeah, bless this child might have been a garbage fire, but I carried that emo-ness into later Revanche and look how that turned out. Your writing from your Steven Universe phase might not have been the best, but it taught you so much about character development, visuals, and the treatment of taboo topics in cartoons. Your first manga sucks, your second doesn't. Let's be honest, nothing good came out of Assorted Stuff 2, but you did move on to Assorted Stuff 3, where you wrote Aggravation, which you nearly completed, and was actually pretty good. It was just Total Drama Island with a few names changed out. Yeah, but the character arcs were fire! I think we have a point here. If you're bad, keep working and you'll get good. One of these days we should read some of your better writing, like Aggravation, or Lady Revanche, or Solomon Tai, or Common Child Spell. Common Child Spell still in storage. Oh, but I'd give to read Common Child Spell again. I guess this is where I'll end the video. Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Finally, you have a programming project you've been putting off. And some Splatoon to write. Solomon Tai. Whoa. Well, thank you for watching Daphne's Dissocs. This is where I'll end the video. The next episode should be coming in a couple weeks. And the next 2 episodes will also be in here because I'll be coming right back for winter break. Well, guys, until next time, do the thing.